Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm just going to explain you what we are going to get into doing on the next part. So what I suggest is that we are going to take a short break, 5 minutes, that we can sort out the breakout rooms while you can, all have a tea or go to the bathroom if you need to. And then what we'll do is we'll go into exercises. I think so on here, I realize I've put 2020. I think we might want to do 30 minutes rather than 40. And so in your breakout rooms, we want you to discuss define your audience. So when you're thinking about your work, who is it that you would like to talk to about your work or about your project? Who is it that you're trying to reach? And then once you've defined your audience, so try, maybe doing 15 minutes. Then we want to have a think about, what would be the best format to reach them. So now that you've seen a bit of like Creative Commons and the different options, would it be a podcast? Would it be a video? Would it be a blog, a press release? And then what we will do is we will come back and have a bit of a debrief and then a wrap up. So I suggest now, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. The idea for the activity is that we will have, so I don't know how many people, we have 16 people. So I think the best thing would be to do 4 groups of 4. We have 4 facilitators. So each group will have a facilitator and then we can start the conversation. And if we can have one person from each group taking notes to then present when we get back together, that would be great. So yeah, if everyone now wants to go on the break, just have a bit of a break for 5 minutes and we'll all meet. I mean, I was about to say the time it is for me, but I guess we all have different time zones. So yeah, if we say 5 minutes from now and we all come back, then we will send you to your breakout rooms.
Discussion. So for the first question, we actually discussed about different audiences that we are working with through different projects. So different groups actually were raised by people that we talk about donors, general public, influencers, or artists from the communities to be ambassadors for your mainstream, for your message in your project. And then we talked about government and policymakers, and of course at small scales, ministries and specific departments, which we have to actually work with them in different projects. And then of course, local communities. Nisar actually mentioned about tourists in Pakistan, that they are actually a target group for some education and awareness raising projects. Then we chose actually 2 different groups of audiences, decision makers and national donors, to actually get, deep into that, how we should format our message or communication with them to achieve the purpose of our project. So with regards to decision makers, we actually came across that the ownership and sharing credits with them is really important. We got different examples from different countries with actually same challenges and common issues, that it's really important to make this feeling among decision makers that they have some sort of ownership in this project. They're also looking for some good ideas with regards to ecological issues, that it's actually one of those probably PowerPoints for us to achieve them and talk with them with regards to the message of our project, because they're seeking for these messages. And of course, it's really important to give the right document to the right person when it comes to government and decision makers. They're probably changing time to time or sometimes fast in different countries. So it's really important to get in touch with the right person in the right time. And with regards to national donors, we actually talk about how important it is to have a specific goal and specific scope, because they really need to hear about, what is the area of your interest, and how it actually overlaps with their area of interest. It's really important for them to see that very transparent, because it probably increase the chance of getting support from them if they see that the message is clear, it covers their interest. So it makes them probably more curious to follow that message or your project. And of course, it's really important in some cases to reform your message. Depends on the group of donors that you are seeking for. As Kustuv actually mentioned, it was really interesting about reforming your message, because when you are actually mainstreaming your message to a group of students, it's different from when you are talking to a national donor or a person from an organization. The message is the same, but the way that you're representing that would be different, and it's actually really important. So it's about the language and how flashy, brief, and straight is your message to catch their attention and convince them to support your project. So as much as you're specific about your message, it increases your chance to get support from national donors or probably at local scale. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. That was a brilliant summary.
Thank you.
Yeah, lots of
like you and others to ask if I missed something or probably didn't mention anything. Please feel free to add more.
Awesome. I think you covered it all. Munib, did you have someone from your group that is going to present as well?
Yes, I think Fatima will give us a summary, so I'll hand over to her.
Okay, I'll try my best. So we talked about, I can just summarize it into 3 things. The first thing is to acknowledge the power of informal communication with the communities if the project involves working with communities, which oftentimes it does in snow leopard regions. You know, there's just a lot of times when you're doing surveys where people are more reluctant to give you answers, but when you put the paper down, then they'll open up more over a cup of tea. So you'll potentially gain more information. And we also talked about kind of where justice plays role in knowledge sharing and what we do with the knowledge, and the importance of leaving some of that knowledge with the communities as well. So finding ways to break the language barrier, maybe through images or through maps, through some things we can leave with the communities. Second way of communicating, which Muni brought up, was with the camera traps example. So when people were vandalizing the camera traps from the villages, to leave a note in their language saying this is for this purpose, and just staying open to changing the communication strategies, to stay open to change the communication strategies while contributing to the project. And the third thing was just keeping it very specific with who the audience is. So if it's a donor, if it's a partner, and adding to Niloufer's point, it's language is a two-edged sword, two-sided sword. So using that wisely, I totally agree with her. Please add if I forgot to mention something.
Awesome, thank you so much. We didn't have a breakout room 3, right? Just so that I don't forget one. I think we only had 2. Yeah, I'll assume that is correct. Amazing. Well, I think one thing that really comes through from both these discussions, from both these breakout rooms, is the importance of really tailoring your communication. Like, there's no one fit for all, and I think that's really, that's really like the key takeaway that I want people to get in terms of communication in general. is like you really need to adapt it to your audience. So knowing who your audience is really like the first point before even writing anything. And I think there's been so many interesting points about, you know, how to reach out to different groups, but also about like languages. And I like the fact as well that you mentioned, you know, just writing on paper or like leaving a note. I think sometimes nowadays people often think like, oh, comms has to be like on social media, it has to be digital. But actually, I was talking to local rangers here in the UK, and I was telling them, you know, if your local community is like people in a village and you want them to come to your nature reserve, then putting something on the notice board, you know, might be the most effective way to reach them. So I think, again, there's no better format. It's just like depending on what your audience need and how they access information. So that's the key takeaway. Munib, did you want to add anything?
I think that pretty much most points were covered here. So yeah, I don't think I have much to add.
Awesome. Well, before wrapping up, I would like to hear from your key takeaways. So I'm going to put two links in the chat where you are going to be able to tell us what is the key thing you've learned during this session, because we're very keen to know. So I'll just put it here. And one of the link is the voting link, and then the other one is the link that will allow you to see the live results. But I will see them appear on my screen, so I will also read them out loud. So if you don't mind just letting us know what's the key thing you've learned during this session, that would be great. Thank you.
Oh, I think it says no question, no active question.
Oh no. Okay, let me, how bizarre. Oh yeah, that is very strange. Let me reshare the link. And I know Munib, like you also have the survey. We'll share as well with you at the end a survey that you'll be able to fill to let us know what you thought of the session. But let me just resend you the link. So let's see. What about this one? But that's the same link. That's very strange. Otherwise, you might have to do it the old-fashioned way and just put it in the chat, but let's see if this link works. No.
It's the same thing, unfortunately, for some reason.
Okay. That is very strange. I'm not sure how to fix it, because it is working on my side. Let me just refresh.
Yeah, it's working for me too. So I think the second link that you sent is working.
That's very bizarre because that's the live results. So like if there's no results, how can we see the live results? Otherwise, could you try to go on this link and put this code?
It worked for me now, Julia. So I don't know.
Okay. How bizarre.
Other people, it's working.
That would be another way to get in. Oh, I can see something. Someone said test, so I can see that.
That was me. That was me. It's working.
Okay. Well, so if everyone can go on the link and say what's the key thing you've learned during this session. The importance of optimism. Yay, that's a good one. The framing of messages, yeah. Target audience, yeah, that's a really big one for us. Awesome. The importance of the traps, yeah, and as again, I think Munib, did you put the link to the full toolkit at some point in there in the chat? Yeah, so you can download the toolkit because there's I think we have 7 or 8 traps in total, so you can see all of them in the toolkit. Nuancing the messaging, pitfalls and nuances, brilliant. Reframing and be positive, yes, that's another good one. I'm just gonna share my screen with you one final time because we have a final slide in case you want to just contact us. So I'm just gonna put that on the slide now. Can you see my screen again? So yes, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and I hope you enjoyed this session. And as I mentioned, Munib will put a link in the chat to a survey so that you can tell us what you thought of the session. But if you want to contact us, you know, our website, conservationoptimism.org. We're on Twitter at Conserve Optimism, Instagram, Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn. And if you want to email us, you can email us at either julia@conservationoptimism.org or munib@conservationoptimism.org. And yeah, if you have any final thought before we wrap up, I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now. We'd love to hear them. Let me see if any new words have popped up.
Thanks, Julia. I think Kustub would like to also add some final words before he has to go for a meeting, if that's okay, to
Yeah.
thank you. Over to you, Kustub. You are muted. Oh, no.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, I usually double mute myself so that, you know, the noise around doesn't bother everybody, and then I always forget. No, I mean, I just want to say there couldn't have been a better way to conclude this 4-part workshop than leaving with a lot of optimism and understanding the value of nuancing your communication. As I mean, some of the examples in the beginning you gave about the koala and all that, they were just so apt. You're saying the same thing. You're not saying anything different. It's just that you're saying it in a way that you make the most impact. You know, and ultimately, and it really, I think one of the first things I remember how we started this 4-part workshops was by referring to a banker friend of ours who said that we sell lies. But people know that we are selling lies, but they still buy it. And you guys do, you know, selfless work, but nobody buys your ideas. So it's just that, you know, they're able to communicate in a way that people buy those ideas. I think that's where it becomes so much more important to nuance your communication for maximum impact. So yeah, I'm thoroughly excited. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to hear
you.
that, and thank you all for attending. It was a great group to have this workshop with.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, I guess then that might be it for today. Justina or Munib, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Just echoing the thanks. Really, it's been lovely to be part of this. And thanks obviously SLN for organizing and inviting us, and thanks everyone for participating. I really enjoyed myself today. So yeah, I hope we can stay connected, and you know, if people feel anything to do with CEO is useful, you know, and if they would like to get in touch with us, please do. So yeah.
Oh, I can see there's a message about the feedback form not opening, so we might need to solve that.
Okay. I might check
send
that.
you in an email.
Yeah, I can check that actually. Yes. Okay, I've done something wrong. I'll check that.
Thanks for a great session, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Sibylla. Thank you, everyone, and all our other facilitators, Kustub, Matt, Joanna, and others, Bedzad, and thank you all. I guess we'll continue with these great modules in the future. If anyone has further ideas on what they would like to cover, feel free to write to Raki or me or Kustub or others, and we can try to incorporate them into the future modules. But great, let's looking forward to staying connected. And Julia, if you have other sessions that you would like to share with the network, please do send them over so we know about other workshops that go on related to.
I will let you know.
Great.